If you feel a little bit crazy because you're in a room by yourself all day working on your business and the only interaction you're getting is talking to your cats, then this episode is for you. We are diving into collaboration and how working with other business owners is a key piece of growing a sustainable long-term business. Because the truth is, you can't do it all alone. All right, let's dive in. So I collaborate a lot. I have done a lot of different collaborations. I'll talk about some of the strategies a little bit later in the episode, but I want to say the more collaborations I do, the more I love doing collaborations because I get so much out of it. And when I say I get so much out of it, it is not just about signing clients. Yes, I have really increased my client roster from referrals, from collaborations, and just from like doing a good job when I get referred because that leads to more referrals. But that's not the only benefit of collaborations. For me, collaborations is how I approach my work. It is how I learn. It is me showing up and not being the smartest person in the room. Yes, I'm here to offer value on what I know, but I also recognize that everybody has different strengths. And I think that's where collaboration can be super, super powerful. It's funny thinking about it because when I was teaching, it was really frustrating because you're so siloed in your classroom that all you want is to collaborate with other teachers. And there's not a lot of opportunities. Usually if you're collaborating with other teachers on things like curriculum or best practices, stuff like that, it is usually an additional course that you're doing or something outside of your regular duties. So like I did a lot of like stipend work when I was teaching to be able to collaborate with other teachers. And so I think because I'm coming from that background of like frustration with not being able to collaborate and feeling so isolated, that I really came into my business like, hey, we're not doing this alone. Like, yes, I'm alone, but I'm not alone, right? I actually joined a Slack community this year, and the person who runs it was like, why are you joining? Like, what are your goals? So I'm like, I just need business people to talk to. Like, I am here to learn, but like, I don't even want to watch all your videos. Like, I just want to be in a room with people that share the same values as me. And it's been great. It was a great choice. I think having collaborations, not just for the referrals, but also as part of your professional development, also as building your network, and just, taking this like community over competition approach, I think really takes you a long way. What's funny is had a coffee chat with a copywriter this week, and she focuses more on SEO and I focus more on messaging and campaign strategy. And she's about to launch and I'm working behind the scenes on my blog. And so we actually just did like a 1-hour call where I helped her plan out some of her messaging and her launch and just like talk through what her plan is. And then she did the same thing for me. And like, yes, I could have paid somebody, but like I have this business relationship where we are both copywriters and we both have value to give each other. So that is always my value of like collaboration over competition. So yeah, I do a bunch of different collabs. And I think one thing I want to say before I get into the strategies is there's all different types of collaborations, but some collaborations are going to take a lot of effort. And so really making sure you find the right people depending on the project that are going to be able to have the bandwidth to take the project through, right? To the end. I've definitely been part of collaborations where we had like really big ideas, but then life happens and people had to step back. And so, sometimes you have to make difficult choices and say, hey, this isn't the right fit anymore or whatever it is. So there's that. And, one example of a great collaboration that I'm in is called Apex Group Marketing. We are currently redoing our website. Hopefully by the time that this episode comes out, you can look at the website and it looks good. But what I love so much about this group is it's all local marketers and everybody has a different area of expertise. And we kind of formed organically where we were just working on projects together. And then we're like, wait, we're actually really great at working on projects together. Maybe we should work on more projects together. And so that is kind of how the group formed organically. And it's been really great to see like how all of the different pieces of marketing work together. Like for me, I'm the like copywriter who focuses on messaging. So I am usually there at the beginning of projects, right? Projects usually start with me and the visual designer. And then after I write the messaging and the website copy, like I tap out, right? And then everybody else gets to jump in, the videographer and the SEO specialist and the web designer, right? And so it's been cool to see how all of these pieces really fit together and how having each other as resources just makes your work so much better, because there has been so many times in this group where I am working on something and I'm like, wait, but what about SEO? And so I tag our SEO person and I'm like, hey, what's up? What do I do here? What's your recommendation here? And that just makes your client work so much better. Going back to the challenges, right? Like this collaboration has been awesome. It's a great group of people, but I do want to say like, it's not easy, right? Like a lot of us are doing a lot of work. We prep for trade shows. We built a brand. We created a website. We have to do the sales work of bringing in leads and having the sales calls and the contracts and all of that stuff. All of that takes time and work. But if you find the right group of people, then it feels like fun and collaborative versus like annoying and heavy and bureaucratic. So that is my recommendation, is to like, if you do decide to do like a referral group like this, and there are tons out there, you don't have to create one, you could just join one, but just understanding that like, yes, there is upfront work that you're going to have to do, just like starting a business, right? There's a lot of upfront work. But one of the qualities that I really love about this group, and something that I look for in my network of business professionals, is there's no hierarchy, right? Like there are two people who are kind of in charge. They facilitate the group. They basically make decisions when everybody is kind of like, I don't really care what we do about that, and just keep everything moving. But it doesn't feel like, it feels very much like a flat structure, right? There is a lot of room for creativity. There's a lot of room for being the expert in the room. There's a lot of room for supporting each other. And it's cool because somebody will say something and that'll trigger another idea. And all of a sudden we're like, wait, okay, let's do this next spring. It's going to be super fun. And so I think just like caveating it that yes, this has been a really great collaboration and it's a lot of work. It's been fun because it's been a good group of people, but it has been a lot of work. Something like a little bit lighter lift than creating a referral group. And I will say too about the referral group is, you know, you don't have to be a group of marketers. Like you could be a group of coaches or whatever. You can figure out what's going to make sense. Like who would help you better serve your audience, right? Who's going to help you solve the problems that your audience has? So really thinking about that, maybe you can curate your own group that makes sense. But if you want something like a little bit less official, something else that I do is monthly co-working. This monthly co-working started because my sister went to a networking event, made a friend, and the three of us ended up getting coffee. And since then, we've kind of invited more people and grown the group a little bit. And we meet once a month and we meet at a coffee shop, bring our laptops. And it's very chill. You come when you're ready, you leave when you need to. It's interesting because when I originally planned this episode, I wasn't thinking about this like a collaboration because it is networking, right? But after we had co-working yesterday, somebody made a comment that was like, I learned so much at these, just like talking to you guys, I learned so much. And I'm like, this is a collaboration, right? Because we are getting together, we are talking about each other's businesses, we're offering advice, we're saying, hey, I tried this, what software do you use for that? Like that is all about helping people. And that is a very chill, low effort way to stay connected with the local group. And it's not a huge group. There's 5 of us and, we meet once a month and it's a good time. It's very low pressure. So those are kind of like the 2 groups that I'm in, plus the Slack community is another group that I'm in. And the other big thing that I do, if you're on my email list, you know this, is a lot of summits and podcasts. Summits make sense for me because I love teaching. I feel very comfortable teaching. I've gotten a lot of clients from summits because I'm a good teacher. And, people see me teaching and then they want to learn more. So that is cool. So that works for me. But I generally have either a summit or a freebie swap or something like that in the background of my email list that goes out, once a week. But I will say, because I do a lot of summits, it would be very difficult to create a new presentation for each of them. So I have one main presentation that I use. It is Campaigns That Convert. It is the same one every time, and it's based on my signature framework, right? And so that is the presentation that I use every time I do a summit, and I have the same freebie that I give every time I do a summit. I have tested a lot of freebies over the years, found one that works, and have been sticking to that one because it's working. Maybe next year I'll think of a new freebie. And I have one paid product that I took out of my membership and offer that when it's like a VIP, like free paid product. So I keep it super simple for myself. Like maybe I'll rotate them out, but I've had this one main presentation freebie and paid offer for months and months now, maybe even longer. And every now and then I'll have somebody who signed up for multiple summits and be like, hey, is this the same resource from the other summit? And it's like, yes, it is. I am not out here creating like a ton of free resources. I'm not reinventing the wheel every time. I'm just like implementing this strategy and choosing collaborations that align with my audience and my values. So that is really like where I think people can get caught up. Like you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. Like you have to find a balance of what's sustainable. Will I create a new presentation eventually? Probably, right? Like when I see that people are struggling with something else, maybe I'll be promoting something else, whatever it is. But for now, that's working really well for me. So I'm going to keep going with it. And that's also like what keeps it fun, right? I'm not super stressed out about it. And I get to know other business owners who are facilitating these summits and these podcasts. Last month, I was in a summit about memberships, and I connected with the person facilitating, and we realized that our parents grew up on the same teeny tiny island of 5,000 people way back in the day. And that was just like such a cool, small world moment. But like now we have that connection, right? And so I think like figuring out summits and collabs are great, especially if you have an email list or especially if you're trying to grow your email list. I will say just if that's your strategy to grow your email list with summits and freebie swaps and collaborations and stuff like that, like knowing that people are signing up for a lot of stuff and there's going to be some turnover, and that's okay. It's normal with an email list if you're adding a bunch of people in that you're going to lose some of those people. And then I think the last one that I really focus on, and not all the time, but guest podcasting is a great one. And I love it because it's like having a conversation. It's kind of like having a coffee chat with somebody else, but then other people get to listen to it later. So it's funny because it's like I feel like guest podcasting ends up being more valuable for me because I connected with the host and not because I provided a lot of audience for the hosts. I provided a lot of value for the host's audience. So it really is about like building relationships and collaboration and all of that fun stuff. So to end this episode, I want to just make a note that like this is also how I approach my client work. It is very collaborative. I like to check in a lot to see if it's moving in the right direction. I'm listening. I'm reflecting back on what you're saying. And it's funny because I feel like there are two types of business owners that I work with when it comes to writing copy. And one is the business owner who has no idea what to say. They're very quiet. I ask them some questions. They give me like very short answers. And then I have the other people who are like, hey, this is exactly what my approach is. Here's how I help people. These are the problems I help them solve. And they know exactly what they do, but they have a hard time saying it concisely and putting it into words. And so when clients give me a ton of information, it's very easy to write a really great first draft. But sometimes the clients who aren't sure exactly, and I totally get it, because if you're not a marketer and you're not thinking in that way, like it makes it hard to kind of think about some of those things. And so I find that just bringing like, hey, I didn't get necessarily all the information, but like, here's a draft with what you did give me and let's work from here. And I think sometimes having that visual of like a starting place, it's easier to tell somebody what's wrong with something than it is to like ideate and think of what you want, right? And so sometimes I do provide that scaffold, right, for my clients because it might be easier for them to think about what their website copy isn't than what it is. I think that just goes to show, like, I really do value collaboration with other business owners, with my clients, with the way that I approach my work. And I really feel like it's such a valuable strategy. So if you are having mostly conversations with your cats during the day, then maybe collaborations are a great next step for you. And if you do some collaborations that aren't necessarily listed in this episode, I would love to hear what they are and maybe share some of those in the future. So with that, thank you so much for listening. I am booking Copy Studio clients for the end of the year and next year if you are looking for done for you support. And thanks again for listening. Until next time. That's a wrap on today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to rate and leave a review on your preferred listening platform. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe for weekly episodes about how to make money and work with the dreamiest of clients without having to get dressed in the morning. Make sure to check out the show notes down below, and I'll see you in the next episode.